All right. Hey, Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, as well as the men that taught them, and peace and blessings to all you walking out there who pushing this word with all truth and sincerity, and as well as all you believers out there who believe in the gospel. And it's a couple of brothers from the Great Millstone Houston camp. I'm the brother Korah Abad, and as always, we got the beloved Elder Tazapah as well, and the water Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai for blessing us with another opportunity to come bring forth His word. In particular to prophesy, to bring forth the news. In which that's what a lot of people don't know. When it comes down to news, you know. They may tune into Fox, CNN, whatever it may be, and put all their eggs in Fox and CNN and whatever, and news channels, CNBC. But really, they're not telling you what you need to know. They're telling you things to keep you distracted, to sugarcoat you while they're doing things behind the scenes. And that's Lord willing, we'll touch on some of those things here. But your prophets are your true newscasters, and saying all that, your prophets are your true newscasters to tell you what's going on and what's to come. And a lot of times it may say, it's 70% rain Friday and it don't rain at all. Well, the things the prophets say is for sure gonna come. But before we hop into it, other times of if you have anything, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I bring out this is Second Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. All right. So we're in the last days and perilous times are here. And it seems like, you have a lot of people this time that are awake to the fact that these riots, these demonstrations, whatever, are psyop. All right. And I think the whole Black Lives Matters situation kind of woke everybody up to that. And you see some of the same things. Brothers have been reporting on it, as the brother Karabot has been speaking about. Brothers speaking about the pallets of bricks popping up, all kind of, all kind of nefarious riot stuff just appearing on the scenes. All right, reminiscent of the George Floyd uh,
Was the day before
fiasco
the
or
protest.
whatever. So yeah, we are in perilous times, and you got a lot of people that's up on the fact, but then you still got a lot of people that's simple, and that they want to go and speak their piece. Let their voice be heard. This is no longer the constitutional America that we were lied to about and told that that this country was. All right, even though they lied back in the day, they kind of stood on those principles, but now all of that is out the door. Constitution is that this is no longer America, all right, as we were taught. So yeah, we are entering into perilous times. This is just the beginning, all right. All these things are the beginning of sorrows. Y'all haven't seen anything yet, but go ahead.
Nah, that's it. That's spot on. And it's some good information, Lord willing, we'll get in a few. Which I seen the apostles spoke on it. I seen certain elders spoke on it as well. But there's a lot happening. And as we bring out every so often, Ephesians the 5th chapter, around the 14, 15 verse, how it says that seeing that the Lord have given us light, then now it's time for us to walk circumspectly and not as the people in the world, but as wise and redeeming the time because the days are evil. And that's speaking more and more clearer and louder as the days go on. Esau setting himself up for the kill. Remember, he's a cunning hunter. That's a part of his nature. Even that, I bet before Eve, before before the actual dude who went talk to Eve, it probably just wasn't no one day he seen her and just walked up on her the day he seen her. He probably was stalking out for a minute, and then one day he just called her and talked to her. But that's Esau. That's his nature. Look at what he do when he hunt. So now the point is he's setting up everybody for the kill. And the system around everybody that the prophet's been talking about, a digital system is finally at the doorsteps, man. So we'll hop straight into it. And Lord willing, this do be edifying. So first, we ain't gonna read this at all, but everything, all the articles, all the videos that we're going to is already in the chat. Well, not the chat, but the description box. But a couple honorable mentions. It says from End Time Headlines, put out June 7th. It says experts warn that Chinese bioterror suspects arrest signal communist. I think it's supposed to say single, but communist country plotting something worse than CV. And I just want, we just wanted to highlight that to show one. As we know, according to prophecy, not just the article, but something worse than CV-19 is coming. Now, as far as this article, for context sake, and you can read it as in a description, but it's talking about another sickness. Now, let's go to the next one from June 7th as well. End Time Headlines. It says scientists warn of new virus discovered in China, again, China, being one small step away from triggering a demic, right? The next pandemic. So we just wanted to highlight those just to show on the back of everything else we're about to talk about. Esau doing that behind the scenes too, behind the scenes of Diddy, behind the scenes of whatever might be happening in the sports world, music world. This is what Esau doing. He have laws set up, and he gonna have certain events take place that he created just to pass the laws.
Yeah.
So starting on this one, you got some other Tazapar?
No, you good, bro.
So hopping straight into it. And a lot of this stuff I know there's a lot of tabs at the top, but a lot of it we not even gonna get into like that as far as read the whole thing. It's just we're gonna highlight some stuff and show some vids. But let's get into it, because with the title of the video saying Shalom to Allah Akim Akwatu may be tuning in, Yahabashim Ashabrakatham. But it says Thursday Live, riots and other events will lead to a MOTB system, the mark of the beast system. And you see hashtag right here, Palantir, and we'll go into that. And it says police state, right? So let's hop into it. It says End Time Headlines, June 19th. I don't know why I keep going to the teens, right? But June 9th, 2025, from End Time Headlines, it says many fear civil war has now come to America's doorstep. And that's the time we in. And I'm not going to read it, but that's the spirit that's being pushed right now in America. That's what the Lord doing right now in America. Matter of fact, let me get a precept. And we read this last week, was showing even Yahushua prophecies right now speaking. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? So let's look at some things that we should expect to witness, see at the end of the world. Verse 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. That's what the Lord allowed me and Elder Tazapah to speak about last week. The wars and the rumors of wars that's still happening. Just because this is a new topic, or the wars and rumors of wars not put in the news today or yesterday, don't mean it's not happening. It's still going on. So that's one thing we see. And it says, and see that you be not troubled, for all these things shall come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be this ain't even the one I wanted. But we're gonna read it. And there should be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. So like I was thinking about 2nd Ezra 9. So like you got something while I go to this?
Okay. No, I don't have nothing at the moment.
So like forgive me. Let me get this real quick. This 2nd Ezra chapter 9. Now, when you go into this is an ongoing conversation between Ezra and an angel. Now, at this point in time, Ezra's seen a lot of visions and dreams. And he asked the angel, he said, okay, you showed me everything that's gonna happen, but exactly at what time is it gonna happen? I just wanted to know the specific time. And the angel go tell him what we're gonna read right here in 2nd Ezra chapter 9. 2nd Ezra 9:1, it says, and he answered, so this is the answer to the angel. And he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. So I ain't gonna tell you the exact time. It says, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then, right? It says, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So these are the signs to let us know we're at the end of the world. Verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, and it's the one, and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. And like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So it's clear we're at the end of the world. We're seeing all the end time events that was prophesied to happen. We are seeing them happen. Right? So it says, many fear civil war has now come to the footsteps or to the doorsteps of America. If you ain't got anything out of Taza Paul, we can hop straight into this video.
All right, that's cool.
So this from and man, Salakia too. I lost my voice, so bear with me. But this from Nations Conspire YouTube channel. Now, this from a day ago. It says the LA riots and the No Kings movement are a government operation for Palantir digital surveillance. And it's good to start with this video. Read this title again, because there's two events that's set to happen that they are saying going help bring forth the digital system. It's going to add to it among other things that's going on. So it says the LA riots, and it's not just the LA riots, but LA riots have ignited other riots across American cities. And it's been said that riots have been held across the world, but I say this, the videos that I've seen of worldly riots to get Trump out of office, it's been fake news. It's been fake news. It's been like, when people celebrating after Argentina won a soccer event or some shit like that, So, but I will say this, it's been people rioting in America all over. But riots, and it's going to spark, just like George Floyd event, like the Elder Tazapah said, it's going to be more George Floyd things and people riot across the world, but it's going to be that. And it says a No Kings movement. That's another thing we'll speak about. It says are a government operation. So these things is what the CIA and what the government is doing for the purpose of setting up the system. So I'll go ahead and play it. We'll, get into it. Let me know if you got something.
Los Angeles bracing tonight after sweeping immigration raids sparked protests and clashes tonight. A U.S. official now confirming to ABC News 700 Marines are now on their way to Los Angeles to join California's National Guard, which was deployed by the president, not that state's governor. Late this afternoon, a peaceful protest after the arrest of a union leader, but the city is bracing for nightfall. It was a far different scene over the weekend. Protesters setting up fireworks right there, police officers right nearby. A line of self-driving vehicles set on fire. Crowds shutting down the 101 freeway downtown, LAPD officers trying to move them off. The moment a U.S.-based correspondent from Australia reporting on the protests, you can see there she's hit by an officer's rubber bullet. President Trump going over the governor's head, sending the state's National Guard to the scene, and tonight he's now sending hundreds of these U.S. Marines. Our chief national correspondent, Matt Guppin, leading us off tonight on the scene in Los Angeles. Matt is one-on-one with Border Czar Tom Homan tonight.
Tonight, 700 Marines are on their way to the streets of Los Angeles to assist the National Guard and law enforcement tamp down violent clashes with protesters angry over the Trump administration's immigration policies and arrests. Over the past 72 hours, pockets of LA descending into chaos. Protesters setting cars on fire, dumping bikes and scooters on police cruisers on the highway. Law enforcement firing hundreds of flashbangs and non-lethal projectiles and making dozens of arrests. It got so heated in the streets that a British photographer needed emergency surgery.
Hey, you know, it's funny out of Tazapa. These videos are like the intro to the Thursday Lives. Just a show is coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
That's right.
It's coming.
Cruisers on the highway. Law enforcement firing hundreds of flashbangs and non-lethal projectiles and making dozens of arrests. It got so heated in the streets that a British photographer needed emergency surgery after being struck by a non-lethal projectile.
Moving them on through the...
And there was this moment. Watch as a correspondent for 9 News Australia reporting on the protest when an officer hits her with a rubber pellet. And tonight, an escalating war of words between California Governor Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump. Newsom suing the president for creating the conditions for this chaos, and he sidestepped California officials to deploy thousands of National Guard troops.
Are you going to deploy Marines in California?
We hope to have the support of Gavin because Gavin's the big beneficiary as we straighten out his problems. I mean, his state is a mess.
Newsom then slammed by Trump and border czar Tom Homan for his response to the unrest. Homan initially suggesting the governor should be arrested, something Trump seemed to support just hours ago.
I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. He's done a terrible job.
Newsom responding again, calling that an unmistakable step toward authoritarianism. I asked Homan about that.
If Gavin Newsom crosses whatever threshold it is and violates the law, do you have the authority to arrest him? Or
if he broke the laws like any other U.S. citizen, we'll ask the Attorney General to investigate, and they'll prosecute. Tom Homan's not going to prosecute.
Spontaneous clashes began Friday as federal agents conducted multiple operations in and around Los Angeles. By Saturday, protests, mostly peaceful, grew larger when agents were seen staging in nearby Paramount, California. And by Sunday, a convoy of heavily armed and camouflaged troops arrived. We watched as the clashes intensified as the day progressed.
Just moments ago, there's some projectiles being thrown. Just moments ago, a motorcycle seemed to try to break through the police skirmish line. And now you can hear all those flashbangs going off. Police are trying to push those protesters back, firing those less than lethals at very close range. And you can see those projectiles being thrown over. Now that motorcyclist being hauled in here, looks like he's being arrested.
LAPD's chief overnight saying they may need more help.
We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity and the type of things that they're doing.
And thousands today gathering peacefully, calling for the release of a prominent union leader arrested Friday during one of those workplace raids.
A lot of us are American citizens. So then what are we working for? What is the American dream? It doesn't even exist when you're picking people out of the street.
911. What's your emergency?
And why there's a commercial, this ad going through, and keep in mind these protests, these things are set up and staged by the government to happen for the purpose of them bringing forth laws. Can a brother post what it is? Isaiah 10:1. You know, laws that they already prescribed. Now you might have people out there who don't even know that, and they seriously out there because they believe they're zeal, you know, they want justice, but who staged it, who set it up, and that's kind of what they'll speak about in this video. We'll play here. What's the purpose of all this?
I just want to give you a sense of where we are. This is the federal building in downtown Los Angeles, and there are probably a couple of hundred peaceful protesters here outside. You can see that line of federal agents and California National Guard. Right now, everything is peaceful, but on the other side, there are probably about 100 LAPD in riot gear. Now, Tom Homan telling me that he supports additional troops in downtown Los Angeles, but a short time ago, Governor Gavin Newsom tweeting that the presence of active duty Marines here in Los Angeles is un-American.
This is the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. The riots that you're seeing in Los Angeles, obviously, by now, everybody out there, especially people who listen to this channel, should know that these are government-sponsored events. Human beings are not naturally organizing without the government intervening and stopping it beforehand, unless the government is actually responsible for any of the riots and chaos that occur. So in other words, if all of us got together and we all talked about doing an actual riot and actually protesting and going somewhere like the White House, before we even arrive, the government would be at our front door, because we know through the NSA and through technology, they're listening and monitoring all of us and tracking all of us. An event like this could not naturally occur unless, of course, the government wanted it to occur. And as you've heard, the National Guard, the Marines have been deployed, and you see the confrontations in the streets between ICE agents and Mexicans or people who are dressed, obviously hiding who they actually are by design, wearing masks. Pretty much what we saw during the Black Lives Matters movement, which was clearly another government operation, which they even eventually exposed that it was a government operation. And still people think that these things are naturally occurring. And now, since these things have started, these riots have started in LA, what we're hearing about is what powers does Trump have to send troops to cities, even if they don't want them? Because if you haven't seen, there's a map out there where there's planned events to occur on June 14th. So you're telling
see, check this out. Now we'll delve into this in a couple slides here in a few. And it's supposed to be this planned event, June 14th, a protest event planned. Well, it's gonna be riots and supposed to be chaos. Now, you know, they say stuff too, you know, but like anti-Trump and, you know, pro immigrants, whatever it may be. But the thing he talking about is that, remember, this is whether something happened or not, even with the little events they got now, Esau, he can bring forth his laws.
You're telling me that this map that is out there, that somebody, where did the government and the media get this map? This is one gigantic organization that they're telling us has been communicating, pinpointing locations, and now they're showing us where all of these false flag events are going to occur on June 14th. And they were able to figure out exactly what locations and eventually who are going to be the attendees at these locations, because this is all about Palantir. And I'll get into that in a few minutes. But look at this map. This is out there. This is being released by CNN. This is being released by NBC, ABC. Protesters are taking to the streets and community hubs nationwide on June 14th, and what organizers expect will be the largest single-day anti-President Trump rally since the start of the administration. The widespread movement will run counter to Trump's multi-million-dollar military parade in D.C. Wow, what a coincidence that Trump's throwing a military parade in D.C., which has false flag written all over it. If you haven't seen, there's tanks that are heading into D.C. on June the 14th. At the same time, these protesters decided, we're all going to organize. We're all going to say we're going to these events, these places. We're going to cause this type of chaos. We're going to burn buildings. We're going to burn cars on fire. And somehow the government hasn't intervened to stop it from occurring. What a coincidence, right? What did you think if the government had this knowledge that they would intervene and stop it from actually happening? If they're showing us this map and they're telling us that these are where the events are going to occur, wouldn't these people be arrested ahead of time? The government has the ability to track and monitor all of this stuff. These people aren't organizing offline. And even if they are offline and they're meeting somewhere, they likely have phones in their pockets, so they're likely being listened to. If the government didn't want it to happen, the government would stop it from happening. And they go on to say, No Kings is what the name of this is. It's a nationwide day of defiance. From city blocks to small towns, from courthouse steps to...
Check this out, I'll let him speak on it. But this was supposed to happen on June 14th. June 14th, and mind you, that's also the day that, let's see, this also was going to happen June 14th. I thought I had it up. June 14th is also Trump birthday. And they're having a Trump. Yep, it is. I know I had it up. So this all was supposed to happen June 14th, which June 14th is Saturday. So June 14th is supposed to be, it's Trump birthday. And it's also supposed to be a military parade for the 250th birthday of America, the American military. So also you're supposed to have on June 14th this nationwide riot of anti-Trumpism or whatever. I'm gonna play this quick little video from Trump and also the articles and everything in the chat. This quick video from Trump about what he got to say about these riots, if anybody got to come. Now, mind you, this was asked at the time 2 days ago. You already got Marines and troops on the streets in LA, and you're supposed to have his birthday Saturday, which, you know, like Nero, right? A parade with military, you know how Russia and Korea do, they'll show they tanks and everything. He want to have that. He want to do it. Right, so that's gonna be Saturday, and you're gonna have this nationwide thing of rioting supposed to be. So it's already riots, and this is what Trump got to say. If anybody want to take it there, what he's saying is we're gonna take it there. Y'all gonna be met with very big force. Matter of fact, I get a quick precept. The brother Lamar put it, Revelation 13 and 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and specifically this America, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. You see, and that's the American two-party system. Of course, you got the Democratic and Republican Party, but think about the spirit these presidents be in as they're running. For president, they all nice, tell you what you want to hear, but eventually when they get in, they ain't doing nothing they said. But now the Lord taking it to the level to where Trump, and we got some videos they'll speak on it, but he's showing everybody his true side, his true horns. Even the MAGA followers, the Trump followers, they seeing it now. But let's see what he got to say. This put out 2 days ago. It says Trump warns military parade protests will face very big force.
Message to adversaries as the Army kicks off 215-year birthday celebration.
I just think it's amazing. We're going to have a fantastic June 14th parade, Flag Day. It's going to be an amazing day. We have tanks, we have planes, we have all sorts of things. And I think it's going to be great. We're going to celebrate our country for a change. Recently, as you know, with World War II, the victory of World War II, I called up France and they were celebrating the victory. Well, we helped them a lot, as you know. I don't have to get into that. But I called up other countries. They're all celebrating the victory. We're the only country that didn't celebrate the victory. And we're the one that won the war. Okay. If it wasn't for us, that war, you would be speaking German right now. Okay. We won the war.
That's a goddamn lie.
And you might be speaking Japanese.
You got it.
Yeah. It was Russia that defeated Hitler. And they had their thing. What was it? Last month, they had the commemoration of that, of them stopping the Nazis or whatever. And this is why you had certain heads of state that went out to Russia. Ibrahim Traore, he went. Scott Ritter spoke about it, and this is where I heard it from. And he said he wanted to go to show support, but all of the West, they declined. Them same people he talking about, France. Russia won the war for him. It wasn't America. Trump declined. They all declined, and it was Russia that helped them get that victory. But yeah, and now they do this. It's disingenuous. Everything they do is disingenuous. You sit here, man, you listen to these people lie and just lie and lie, and you get sick of this shit. But yeah, man, all of this stuff that's going on, again, like I was saying, America is done. All right. The Constitution, now they're going after your Bill of Rights. All right. Freedom of speech, freedom to bear arms, to defend your very life, all of that. And all of this is just the distraction for the collapse of America. I want to say that was Elder Malcolm brought it out, that right, this is to cover the collapse. These riots are to cover the collapse of the economic system of America in general. Mm-hmm. But right, the treasury bonds, all of them, the money that's owed these countries is owed. It's time. These countries need to be paid up, like China. These people who invested in these treasury bonds. And America is insolvent. I believe there was somebody talking about that. I forget who, but the thing to do now, because America is the collateral for the treasury bonds and all of these other, what it keeps America afloat. So now that America is insolvent, they need to basically like they do, they issue a new line of credit. All right. And so the old line, it'll be destroyed for all intents and purposes. It'll cease to exist. All right. So with the people being collateral, a lot of you gonna be outright, taken off the earth. And that's what the upheavals and all of that is about, because new interests have taken over. All right. These new interests, they don't care for people. They want machines, robots, drones and all this shit, AI. So now, this is the point where we're coming. You heard the woman say the American dream doesn't exist in the video. It never, it was a delusion. It never existed. It existed for Esau because this is his rest. But this is not our rest. How many times we read Micah 2:10? But the issue is y'all don't want, people in America, they don't like medicine. They like pills and quick fixes. They don't like the herbs and the tonics and the tinctures and the stuff that you got to put in work for it to work. Meaning you got to do certain things. And that's what this truth is. It's medicine, but you got to do certain things to make it effective. It's not a magic pill. So now, we're here at this chaos. The prelims of Jacob's trouble are upon us. And you got a lot of people out here don't know what's going on and don't have any protection and going out into this shit blind, and is about to be destroyed. You're going to have a lot of people meet their end, just out here lost and doing crazy stuff. This stuff it doesn't even need to be done. Like, why do y'all need to be out there protesting? Why? And then they got they waving Venezuelan flags and all of this stuff. What has the protest ever done? I don't get people at this stage. You're doing stuff that has been proven ineffective, but yet you continue on. We offer you the better way, and yet people don't want it. But I want to go back to Revelation 13 and 11, with those two horns, because in the political arena, they're playing this off as red against blue. That's why you're seeing the stuff in the news. Gavin Newsom sues Trump, and Trump is, like you just played. So the patriots can still get behind Trump with that narrative. Oh, it's red versus blue. It's Trump against Newsom. And then it's all of psyop.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Con.
Yeah, they playing it off as that, and the whole time they working in tandem. These people are in cahoots. Newsom is a shit. I think he. Well, I'm not sure, but a lot of people was looking for him to run for president. All right, because he's about this new world order. He's all about it. Did y'all forget? He sat there and let goddamn the Palisades and all that shit burn. That's under his watch.
Yep.
And now you think it's Trump against Newsom?
And he pushed all that stuff in California with the CV, the mask and all that. That was him.
He down with the agenda 110%. So it's not no Newsom against Trump, but that's what they do. Even if you got to kind of chronologicalize, if I said that right, the Thursday lies. We've documented this even before I came on, all right? But for sure, since I've been on here, you go back and watch the shows, you understand everything of what's going on right now.
Yeah, God.
Because we've been documenting week by week, documenting these events every step of the way. And so now we come here and there's no surprises, especially for y'all that watch us faithfully, we told y'all this was coming. And it's here, and now why I mentioned the previous shows, because you always bring up, Robert, about Klaus Schwab and him bragging about, I believe you played it last week, how the WEF, his organization they penetrate cabinets. So what they do is put people in key positions so these dramas can play out and unfold to get you emotionally involved in the shit. And then next thing you know, you are protesting and marching because you've been emotionally charged. And that's the whole point of the two horns. There's two powers, the Republicans and the Democrats. You go vote for these people, you go to the polls to be polarized. They put batteries in your back. You get charged. All right, but that's the Republicans and the Democrats. It's never had a successful third-party system, political system here in America. You had some that came close and that came up, but it's always been them two horns. All right, that's America. And then it said that, but he spake as a dragon. Okay, and these are going into Isaiah 10. Him speaking as a dragon is in reference to the draconian measures which they previously have prescribed. And now you see executive orders coming out like strengthening and enacting the on the lesson I did, it was strengthening and empowering law enforcement, but it was an executive order passed April the 28th, quietly. And people don't even know. That gives ICE, anybody that the commander-in-chief deputizes, like these Marines, and they've been commissioned to go into action, they have complete immunity. All right, it's like a purge, but only you don't get none of the benefits. So they can do whatever to you, and you can't even much as cut your eyes at them, or that's grounds for probably you be put to death. You give them a hard look, let alone put your hands on them, you done. But these are executive orders that one, I'm gonna get that the exact name. But yeah, you could go ahead, brother, because I'll keep going, man. Go ahead, Doc. You got something?
I was gonna go back to that video and play
okay,
that.
It's strengthening. I don't even know where this comes from, but strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement. All right, and that's let me read the whole thing. Strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. I did a lesson on that on GMS Holding Firm. All right, and this was again past April 28th this year, this hopeful year of Esau's downfall and our deliverance. So, right, we well underway, all right, to getting the hell up out of here and getting to our kingdom. We're well underway. So, yeah, you got it, I'll
go ahead and play this video again, and we'll play that Jimmy Dore video. Here we go. So what's the purpose of these riots and these things we're going to see so they can bring in a surveillance system in America?
Community parks, we're taking action to reject authoritarian and stop it from actually happening. If they're showing us this map and they're telling us that these are where the events are going to occur, what did these people be?
Again, like he was saying. So look, if I ain't gonna be long, but if brothers want to check this out, or in the Aquath want to check this out, the link in the description box, but I'll put in the chat. Who? As I was looking while you was talking at the Taza Park, who set this up? Like who said this is gonna be all the locations? And I'm looking, you got some in Canada, you got some in Central South America. Like who decided all this? That June 14th we gonna do it. All these places. That's to show you CIA, and that's just what Salaki, you got it.
No, go ahead.
Just what you said, and the simple people, they're gonna see this and be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do it too. Justice, all right, and change, and post on Instagram a snippet of this, and the the comment will be the change you want to see.
Yeah.
You feel me? So they gonna go, and it's gonna fuel a lot of people. But my thing is, who said this? Like in all these, I even looked in Houston. So look, other times about, so they got one in Sugarland, they got one in Kingwood, in League City, Katy, and over there by Cypress. Come on, man. Like, so anyway.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, who decided?
Oh, and a week before summer solstice. So yeah, they got big plans. They got big plans. So they got all of this energy, or will have all of this energy built up that they can, from the protests and all of this, riots, whatever, that they can harness and use for whatever they got going forward, which is war. We know from with Psalm 55, his words were smooth and all, that's 50. But it say war was in his heart, so we know where it's all going. But yeah, this is where we at, man. Right now, the topic is, do America strike Iran? And this is in serious talks right now. Is America, or does America need to strike Iran? And Judge Napolitano was talking to Colonel Douglas McGregor about it. And Douglas McGregor said that's a road America does not want to go down. But guess what? They're going to go. But yeah, brother, go ahead.
That's right. But yeah, even in the over there in Europe, they got so-called protests. But let's finish playing this video and we can move on.
Will be arrested ahead of time. The government has the ability to track and monitor all of this stuff. These people aren't organizing offline. And even if they are offline and they're meeting somewhere, they likely have phones in their pockets, so they're likely being listened to. If the government didn't want it to happen, the government would stop it from happening. And they go on to say, No Kings is what the name of this is. It's a nationwide day of defiance. From city blocks to small towns, from courthouse steps to community parks, we're taking action to reject authoritarianism. And of course, the we that's being referenced are obviously paid government officials. This is Black Ops, this is CIA, this is all your government agencies working together. And then what eventually happens is they organize these events, and monkey see, monkey do occurs, because there are real civilians who partake in these events because they see it happening on TV. Then they get motivated to join and find one, and that's what the government wants. And of course, you'll be detained and arrested and considered a terrorist in the United States of America. Even some of the stuff that we've seen, which is so fake and hilarious, like the Waymo cars.
This is Pod 5, the first.
Pod 5.
That's one of the more popular videos going around, where you can see the Waymo cars just completely burning in the streets. And the funniest part of all is that it didn't take much for them to light those things on fire, since they're electric vehicles. All they probably did was go over there and dump a gallon of water on the engine, and the thing probably caught fire, because that's what electric vehicles do. But on top of all these things, we need to talk about Palantir. And I talked about Palantir and the kill chain. If you haven't seen that video, I highly...
Palantir or Palantir, right? Now, I ain't gonna let him talk about it in this video. You can watch the whole thing, is in the chat. I'm gonna let other videos talk about it. But he introducing it on why these riots, why these things going on, why these setup events are happening, so the government can have an excuse. Let me get a precept. A brother posted it. So the government can have an excuse to move in and bring forth their system that they need to bring forth. Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they have prescribed. They already got these things set up and planned. It's already set up. They just need a reason to bring it forth. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get another one real quick. This is Micah chapter 2. Micah chapter 2. And I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, so seeing Esau, got laws already in place, You know, he just need things to happen. And since, you know, the people don't just riot, it don't just be a person just wake up and they say, I want to go mad, shoot up a school or a mall, right? Just like on that video of The Purge, when nothing was going on, people wasn't killing people. Esau said, man, let's set up some shit, send people out there to kill people. So that's what Esau do. By way of his government, he send things, he fake things. So this Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that, I'm gonna get the NLT. This Micah 2 and verse 1 in the NLT. It says, what sorrow awaits you who lie awake at night, thinking up evil plans. Look, they put a whole article, you know, flyer together. It says, you rise at dawn and hurry to carry them out. Simply, that's the point, simply because you have the power to do so. And like I said in KJV, it is in your power, it is in the power of your hands to do it. So that's why you're able to have laws and, you know, talking. This could be a good idea for us to bring forth the digital system, because they ain't gonna expect it with Trump. They ain't gonna believe it. He gonna do it. And so they'll be like, well, how we gonna do it? See, they think they're the most high. How we gonna do it?
That's it.
Because, you know, that's what the Lord do. Well, how we gonna do it? Well, you know, what you think? You know, we could do something with the Israelite camps. What you think? You know? Well, you can have riots with the immigrants, all these immigrants coming, and then you can say, to make Americans feel safe, we need a digital system with IDs and sneak it up on it with Trump. Perfect. I like it. Let's do it. And that's what we seeing.
They set up think tanks to, you know, work around the clock, come up with all these oppressive ideas and agendas. You know, like I just mentioned, strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. That didn't just come about in April. That was something been sitting on the back burner, and they move society. Like you say, they think they're the Most High. Going back to Isaiah 10, the Most High declared the end from the beginning, and the beginning from the end. And so he writes this grievousness, which he prescribes, that's a form of him trying to, you know, trying to move society or humanity in the way that he wants them to go. But he had these policies in place, like the one I just mentioned, which guides their ideology. So in other words, like with this executive order, strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement, they had to come up with that whole plan of, we're gonna bring the illegals over here, we're gonna pay them more, we're gonna give them more free shit from the government. Is what we always talk about, Hegelian dialectic. We're gonna wait for the desired result. All right, the reaction, which is, you know, everybody get fed up, the taxpayer citizens get fed up, and then they're gonna ask for them to be removed. Then bam, we can bring this law out. You know, then we can hit them with this law. That's how we're gonna hit them with this one. And then when they say this, then that's how we're gonna hit them with this executive order. So, you know, when you read Isaiah 10 and 1, it's really them playing the Most High. You know, because some of these things was prescribed decades ago that are just now coming into fruition. You know, but that's what the Most High does. He gives us prophecy, showing us where he's taking humanity. All right, and right now we're headed toward the end of this particular kingdom. But Esau thinks he can upset and subvert that, and he won't. But go ahead.
Kind of that's it. I'm gonna play just a little bit more of this video because I do want to play these vids. Just a little bit more of this one.
Highly recommend you check it out. This is what we need to focus on now, because the alt-right media, these people who are pretending to be conservatives, who are pretending and obviously using mind control to create racial tension and racial division, all of this stuff you hear about illegals, this is all being manufactured by the alt-right media. It's causing racial division. The government's creating false flags and psyops around the country every single day. We hear stories about a young white girl who was on a college campus, who was attacked and killed by an illegal immigrant. Every crime that you're hearing about nationally is all, again, getting linked to, oh, he was an illegal, kind of like the Molotov cocktail psyop. We just heard they threw in a...
See, so propaganda is being forced. Events are being forced for what purpose?
At the end that he was an illegal immigrant. This is all about Palantir and bringing in a digital ID. And I want to bring attention to what this is. This is military-grade surveillance tools to use on the domestic population. The conservatives are duping the same people who are supposed to be anti-government overreach, who are supposed to be anti-surveillance state, into wanting one. Because, again, they think that this will be used to their benefit. But when the tables turn and they put a Democrat in power, don't you think they'll start using this against people who are anti-Pride Month and anti-LGBT and anti-you-know-what and anti-this and whatever the government deems hate speech or terrorism in the future? This technology is more than just dangerous. This is the type of technology that will enslave and cost people their lives. Laura Loomer is someone I want to bring attention to in the alt-right media.
And remember that as we go on, they're using it right now as an excuse for the immigrants, as we often say. Oh, we need it for the immigrants to make the American people feel like they're doing something good, feel like, yeah, Trump, yeah. But it's going to be turned on you too.
I haven't covered Laura Loomer in great detail, but this is someone with 1.7 million followers. You could see the X account where it says investigative journalist, free spirit, founder of Loomered. I don't know who would sit through or watch any of this garbage, but former Project Veritas operative, keyword operative, still an operative of the deep state of the government. And of course, America First, showing you that that star, because that's what it's all about, right? And feistiness for the synagogue of Satan. You can see Loomer with President Trump, even Loomer, who's a member of the synagogue of Satan. Very bizarre if you're a member.
Hey, if you conceal carry and you want to do so comfortably.
Why there's an ad going through, and check this out, Taza, the owner, the CEO of Palantir. Guess who he buddies with? Guess who he friends with? He went to school with Elon Musk. So they boys.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yep.
But yeah, he do look like that classic CIA type. You know, that's crazy.
Yeah, him and Elon. It's on one of these videos. We're gonna show the last one, which we'll get here in a few. But yeah, they boys though. Yep. And even that's another thing. They gonna mention it. One of these videos on why Elon's stepping down. They're gonna say, if we don't get to it, they're gonna say because he did his part. He did his part. He did.
Right. Somebody had brought up, I watched the video, said that it was a temporary position anyway for 130 days or something like that. So yeah, it ended right when he stepped down. That was he just had a limited term. So that's what that was about.
Yep.
But then that the whole drama that unfolded, that's just theater. They're just theater. But go ahead.
Yep, and the part he was supposed to play was getting Americans by way of Trump being a real face, so Americans don't, think nothing, don't be alarmed, right? But Elon was the other face of linking America, finally the last place to the worldwide digital system. And now that it's finally linked, Trump can take it from here with everybody else. That's it. So he can step back now.
Yeah.
We'll play.
Of the synagogue of Satan, that you would want to stand next to this quote-unquote replica of the Ark of the Covenant, which I covered in separate videos available on the website, that appeared at Mar-a-Lago. Well, this is one of the people who continually does stream after stream after stream that people watch and get all emotionally sucked into about mass deportations. They're creating racism. It's being created on both sides by the mainstream media. And the right does it as well with creating racism, making white people feel like they're being suppressed, and all the government wants to do is aid black people and aid Mexicans and not aid white people, put this curriculum in schools that make everybody hate white people. This is all part of their psychological war that they've created. And these people continue to feed into it instead of the people uniting together and realizing the left and right are working together to cause this division, because divide and conquer is the oldest motto in the book. So Laura Loomer every single day puts out podcasts about mass deportations now. And isn't this interesting? Laura Loomer tweets out, time to deploy.
Now check this out. From what's happening in LA right now, this is what she said.
Palantir to Los Angeles to deal with the illegals. You'd love to see it. You're lying if you say you would. Doubles down on it a few days later. I don't care. I would say it again. I don't care if Palantir surveils jihads and illegals. I want them all out of my country. Do you really think we're going to mass deport 65 million people without advanced tech. Are you that naive? Remove every single one. They are rolling out Palantir. They're getting conservatives on board with this now. Because remember, over the last couple of weeks, the pushback being given even by MAGA in regards to Palantir. Oh, wait a minute. We don't want this surveillance state. These guys sound psychotic, the things that they want to do, the databases they want to build on American citizens. Well, here's your PSYOP that's being put out there. Here's your false flags, your government stage riots that are being created deliberately. So that these same
right. So we will stop down now. You know, if you want to watch the rest, is in the description box. Just wanted to set ground on why we about to see a lot of false flags, fake events, and the LA riots, and this riot, and oh my God, we need to send troops. And it's gonna seem like the government, like they can't keep, control, and that's gonna be the reason to bring forth the a better surveillance system. You know, the last one, what they had, the Patriot Act. You know, after 9/11, 9/11. You know, they said, oh my God, we need to make sure we watch for terrorism and domestic terrorism so this never happen again. And that's why you started having TSA in airports and cameras everywhere, and cameras on the street and cameras in buildings and so on and so forth. Now they're going to take it to the next level. And this the in their mind, the groundbreaking time of all this beginning. You got some other ties of pie before we move on a bit?
No, you're good.
I just want to highlight this. Now, I was watching a video earlier. If I find it while this other video we about to play, why it's playing. If I find a video, I was watching a video describing Palantir. I just put it in the chat. Now, real quick, because somebody say, well, what's Palantir? Who that is? You know, like it's a group of people, mercenaries. I know it's software. So it says AI overview. Palantir is a publicly traded American software company now remember this, that specializes in data. And that's going to be so important to remember for this video we play, not Dabu. This video we play, not Trump. This video we play right here. This video we play right here. The reason for they need Palantir is because they specialize in data. And the way to start a digital system to control everybody is by controlling data. And that's where Palantir come into place. Right? Where we was. So going back to this, it says Palantir is a publicly traded American software company. So it's not nothing you can see. It says that specializes in data and analytics software. It helps organizations integrate, analyze, and gain insight from vast amounts of data, facilitating data-driven decision-making. So in other words, they could alert the authorities or the government on if somebody go do something before they do it. And how they gonna do that? By way of patterns. They gonna learn your pattern, your everyday movements, and if something out of line is gonna alert the government. This gonna push toward you that social credit score. Everybody falling in line. But it says Palantir's platform like Foundry and Gotham are used in various sectors, including government, as everything for the government, and healthcare and defense. In order for you to get by, they setting the groundwork for it. You have anything other ties of pop before this next video be played?
Yeah, I just say the way Whitney Webb described Palantir, she say it's the George H.W. Bush era. His intel of his, I guess, intel of surveillance and the spy network, all put into a digital platform that can follow you. So it's able to track you, and that's what this is all about. That's why they want to use it at the riots. Tulsi Gabbard came out, says how they prosecuted somebody. They was wearing a mask. They went and looted or something. I think they looted a store. Something I forget, but she was bragging how they got him. You know, he was wearing a mask and all that. So that's what this is about: facial recognition and all. You being tracked everywhere you go. Listen to, watch every second of the day. That's Palantir. going back based on the because for those who may not know, George H.W. Bush, who was president, what was it, 88 to 91, 92, 88 to 92. Before that, he was vice president to Ronald Reagan, and before that, he was director of the CIA. So the CIA keeps coming up because the CIA is the one who subcontracted, as the brother just read, all right, it's a public company. And that's partly true. It is public because that's the only way that the CIA would be allowed to, have this type of power.
Receiving the results almost.
So lawfully, the CIA, like, this is unethical to track everybody, right? That's what everybody say. This is against my constitutional rights. So they couldn't just come out outright, the CIA, and say, well, we got this Palantir. They outsourced it and let Peter Thiel or whoever else do it so they can say, oh, it's a public company, but they got funding and advice. They were advised constantly. So Thiel pulled by the CIA, So it's a CIA racket. All right. Going back to George H.W. Bush, which was CIA director of the during the 70s. So that's how Whitney Webb described it. And it's basically right. It's a database for surveillance. So go ahead.
If I may play these two quick videos just to show us linked to the CIA.
American company Palantir is providing intelligence to Ukraine to repel the Russian invasion. With the help of artificial intelligence, Palantir enables Ukraine to have a better understanding of the battlefield and gives it the exact location of Russian tanks, planes, and ships in real time so that the Ukrainian army can efficiently tackle the Russian threat on its soil. As Russia continues to mobilize more resources for its war against Ukraine, the government in Kyiv plans to beat Russia's advance in numbers by using artificial intelligence to defeat the enemy. Palantir was founded back in 2003
founded in 2003
by famous Silicon Valley investor Peter Thiel and a liberal doctor of philosophy, Alex Karp.
Remember Peter Thiel. I'm gonna play one more quick video and we're gonna play that Jimmy Dore. Remember Peter Thiel.
Time, the United States announced the war on terror after the September 11th attacks.
After 9/11,
successfully invaded Afghanistan, began the invasion of Iraq, and was looking for additional contractors to support its operations in the Middle East. Peter Thiel back then saw an opportunity and decided to help the American government avoid another 9/11 event. He had just sold PayPal to eBay for $1.5 billion and had enough money to start a hedge fund that was focused on investing in new companies. With enough capital to deploy, Peter Thiel teamed up with his friend Alex Karp, who finished a doctorate degree in Europe and was running an investment firm, to found Palantir and named Alex Karp the chief executive of the company. The goal of Palantir was to create software that could collect, analyze, and organize large sets of data and turn that data into actionable insights. During his days at PayPal, Peter Thiel had a group of engineers who were using artificial intelligence and machine learning to develop fraud detection software based on the available data. Now the goal was to use that experience.
Right, I'm gonna play this one real quick. It says, I worked at Palantir. I'm gonna put these in the chat right now.
Tech company based here in Denver claims they can revolutionize government systems with their data analysis software, newly powered by artificial intelligence.
They've been hired by the Department of Defense, the FBI, local police departments.
And look, it's going to Palantir. Look who they've been hired by: the Department of Defense, the FBI, CIA, and local police departments.
And even the IRS.
IRS too.
Wendy's, to take in the information those organizations collect even more information, and use that data.
Remember Peter Thiel.
Data to draw conclusions.
It can be used to completely reconfigure organizations' ontology, its reality, what systems matter, what information matters, what processes matter, how they are structured, what biases are introduced at each of those stages.
We talked to a former Palantir employee, dug into decades of research, and listened to hours of Alex Karp's own words to unwrap the layers of Palantir's carefully cultivated sales pitch, how they capitalize on fear, uncertainty, and unrest.
I don't think in win-lose. I think in domination. This is a company built for bad times. Bad times mean strong finances internally. Bad times are very good for Palantir because we build products that are robust, that are built for danger.
Now a reminder of what he's saying right here. In order for his company to work, he need bad times. If you ain't catch that, in order for his company to work and for this to work, he need bad times. Play that again, but I just want to show you who he connected with. Who everybody, all of them connected. It's all one big game.
Layers of
And then we're gonna play that Jimmy Dore. I just wanted to give, some background on Palantir for some who may didn't know. So what to what it is.
Here's carefully cultivated sales pitch, how they capitalize on fear, uncertainty, and unrest.
I don't think in win-lose. I think in domination. This is a company built for bad times. Bad times mean strong finances internally. Bad times are very good for Palantir because we build products that are robust, that are built for danger.
Let's rewind a little.
Palantir's story starts with one of the most effective things a company can have for sales: fear.
After the September 11th attacks, the United States government began expanding surveillance both at home and abroad. This was, of course, a boon for the defense industry at large. Simultaneously, the Silicon Valley tech industry was growing fast and making people in a once obscure industry very, very rich, very, very quickly. Like the founders and executives at PayPal, known as the PayPal Mafia. Elon Musk, Reid Hoffman, the LinkedIn guy, and Peter Thiel. When PayPal was sold, Thiel had millions of dollars.
Peter Thiel, Palantir owner, Palantir, Peter Thiel. He linked with Elon. They go way, like we say, they go way back. And like I said, he did his part. Now he's stepping back. All of us right now is up for the next time, the next, the next level, so to speak. But they all link. You about to say something at the time,
Yep. No, you good.
Dollars burning a hole in his pocket, and an idea. PayPal had developed.
Just wanted to play that. Let's play this Jimmy Dore real quick. Just to give some background on Palantir. Let's play this Jimmy Dore.
Lynette, she no, that ain't Lynette. God damn it. I forget the lady's name. She really break it down. But yeah, you got it.
It's time to deploy Palantir to Los Angeles to deal with the illegals. You know you love to see it. You're lying if you say you wouldn't.
This is the grand plan. Okay, it's not an accident that cars are burning on the streets and people are waving foreign flags on the streets. There is something they're trying to manufacture consent for.
All right, so Donald Trump put this out. Governor Gavin Newsom, I like him, but I call him Newsom. It's affectionate.
I call him Newsom, and I say he should be thrown in prison, but he's a nice guy. I like him.
He's a nice guy. And Mayor Bass should apologize to the people of Los Angeles for the absolutely horrible job that they have done. And this now includes the ongoing LA riots. These are not protesters. They are troublemakers and insurrectionists. Remember, no masks. Now, you want to talk right off the bat about a psyop, and Jimmy, you've talked about this a lot. They empower strong Republicans and weak Democrats. You cannot tell me, because at this point, I know too many strong people.
Speed this up just a bit on the Taza Pop, you don't mind.
Time to deploy Palantir Tech to Los Angeles to deal with the illegals. You know you'd love to see it. You're lying if you say you wouldn't. Wow, I think she misread a lot of the room. So James Lee here commented on this. It kind of sums up a lot of what we've been talking about here.
Dreaming of a custom home that's exactly how you want it?
I like it for these ads.
Years. We're not just
Say some pretty unpopular things, starting with this is not good. Also, this is not a peaceful protest, but something very disturbing is happening in the background that I think you should know about. It's time to deploy Palantir to Los Angeles to deal with the illegals. You know you love to see it. You're lying if you say you wouldn't. This is the grand plan. Okay, it's not an accident that cars are burning on the streets and people are waving foreign flags on the streets. There is something they're trying to manufacture consent for.
Remember, when they justified the passing of the Patriot Act over 20 years ago, they told us we needed all this extra power to go after the bad guys, to get rid of the terrorists. But almost immediately, the government started to use that extra power they were given to spy on ordinary Americans, right? How can you be so sure that you
Remember that? They said we need to do this, Americans, to help y'all from illegals, from terrorists. But eventually, not look everybody getting spied on. What you think this next thing will do? What we need to do it for the immigrants? Then over time, it's going to be everybody.
Will not be deemed an enemy of the state one day. There's absolutely no guarantee that this master database won't be weaponized against you. And to be perfectly honest, history tells us that the likelihood is pretty high that it will be used against you one day. So to quote RFK Jr., 1, any power that the government takes from the people, it will never return voluntarily. 2, every power that the government takes, it will ultimately be abused to the maximum extent possible. 3, nobody ever complied their way out of totalitarianism. The only thing we can do is resist. Be careful out there, people.
RFK Jr. should tell his boss that. So Kurt Metzger, friend of show Kurt Metzger, replied to Laura Loomer, do you really not comprehend the level of evil fuck of Alex Karp and Peter Thiel? And Ian Carroll. Laura, how would you feel if it was deployed to target Jews? Not great, right? Once you give the government a power, you never give it back. You are giving that power to every future administration. So the question should always be, what if this was used to target me? Here. Stephen Miller has a very different take on all this, predictably. While ICE officers are battling violent mobs in Los Angeles, Rand Paul is trying to cut funding for deportations and border security. On Fox this morning, I argued for $75 billion in new spending for the border. Current estimates are that a 1,000 miles of wall can be built for about $7 billion, and $68 billion would still employ thousands of new Border Patrol agents, immigration judges, and expanded detention facilities. Okay. Now, Kentucky Statesman here responding to Thomas Massey. While ICE officers are battling years so they can't interfere with the upcoming New World Order. And what he's quote tweeting from Massey is the big proximity to residential areas. Getting the picture? Getting the picture? I'll throw in a little side.
Here you go right here. That ties apart Whitney well, kind of what you were just mentioning.
Element that's not in this slideshow. We did a story about how the University of Zurich did an experiment that they caught hell for because they didn't tell anyone they were doing it. They sent AI bots into Reddit to pursue.
And really, after this, I'll play a couple minutes of this, and then we'll show these quick clips on Instagram of the riots that's been faked, and we can end it off on that last vid. And that's pretty much it. You know?
All right.
Persuade people of things. And they found that they were more persuasive than humans. Now, if the University of Zurich just did that experiment, what do you think the odds are that the three-letter agencies have not been doing that for years and years? Look at some of the really crazy, divisive comments you'll see on X, and then go look at how many followers they have. It's like 27, right? Why? Almost always. You think they're not setting loose fake AI bots posing as people in order to steer you in one direction or another, depending on your ideological biases, and keep you arguing over the immigrants and the wall while they build a police state around you? So this is Whitney, who basically this is her life's work exposing this kind of thing. Palantir is not just a military contractor. It was a company created to privatize and house the Bush-era neocon-run surveillance program, Total Information Awareness, housed previously at DARPA, and put it under increased CIA control, though the CIA was also intimately involved with TIA. TIA was shut down by Congress because it would have eradicated the constitutional right to privacy, but Palantir has accomplished that and gotten away with it because it is a private sector entity. You know how we're always saying, well, we should make social media.
As I went through my timeline, I realized that, I was saying.
And agencies like the CIA said, yeah, they can do what they want. So let's subcontract out. He has written quite a lot.
There you go right there about how the CIA use it, so they don't get caught up.
About Palantir specifically, how they used
Palantir to get around the Constitution or to have constitutional protections. Okay, so if you're a government agency like the CIA, you have.
If you're a government agency like the CIA, this is what other times I was speaking on. You got it if you want to kind of speak on it, but I just play it.
Have to stay within certain constitutional constraints, theoretically, with publicly held interest in order to have constitutional protections. Okay, so if you're a government agency like the CIA, you have to stay within certain constitutional constraints, theoretically. Whitney has written quite a lot about Palantir specifically, how they used Palantir to get around the Constitution, because, you say, well, they're a private company, they can do what they want. So government agencies like the CIA said, yeah, they can do what they want. So let's subcontract out the stuff that we might get in trouble if we did it, because they don't have those constraints. Palantir's earliest funder, besides Peter Thiel, the CIA. Palantir's first client for its first several years as a company, the CIA. Where did Palantir engineers every 2 weeks for years go for guidance in developing their products? CIA HQ. Palantir's originally intended clients per CEO Alex Karp, the CIA. If there ever was a CIA front company, it's Palantir, though Peter Thiel has since quipped that the CIA is a front for Palantir. So got thousands of tapes, and you got Cash Patel. The people getting paid are.
You had anything the electoral in this video at the Taza Party and timestamp that you wanted to bring out?
No, I thought you had the one with I forget the lady's name.
Yeah, I got it right here.
She breaks down how I like how she was going into Doge and their whole the whole agenda that they were set up to do, which was to set up for the, like you mentioned, set up for the what is it? The
CBDC system.
That, and then the social credit system.
Yep.
Because of the she brought out how the places that Doge audited, like the IRS, the Treasury, that was another one, the Treasury payout system. These are all the places that you would need to effectively set up a social credit score. And so, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, Con, so yeah, you good?
Now we can play that. Yeah, we can play that one. But as you see, a lot of things about to start taking place and happen in the earth, and it's not just by chance or coincidence. Whether it's gonna be the Lord or Esau go force things to happen so he can sign off on laws to bring forth the system. That's why you see things like this. Everybody. And I mind you, this Saturday is supposed to be June 14th, so we'll see what happens June 14th. Right, so this is like George Floyd. We got to force a situation. Austin, Texas. You also got this.
BLM riots as well. Remember those pallets of.
So the CIA, the government want to force something so they can pass.
Someone just filmed a couple of pallets of cinder blocks in front of the ICE facility gate in Paramount, California. And apparently the date on these, the delivery date, was the day before the protests kicked off. This is very interesting because we saw this happen during the BLM riots as well. Remember those pallets of bricks? As opposed to cinder blocks, there was bricks at a lot of the protests mysteriously placed in different parts of the cities that were protesting. All I can think about this is that their favorite slogan is order from chaos. They need chaos in order to bring order, but they can't bring that order. People would reject it unless there was chaos in the first place to get you to accept it. Just like how in the UK, you can't go out at night, it's unsafe, so they put up.
See that?
That's it. And this is
Donald Trump to bring in.
Oh shit. Okay. Second Ezra 15 and 5. Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness had exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled.
That's right.
Right. So yeah, just going into that, this is the time that we're in. The hurtful works are fulfilled. So the Lord is bringing plagues. All right. And this is just the beginning. But you got it out.
Kind of get a quick one, because this is what we seeing right here in this Bible prophecy. Second Ezra chapter 15, in verse 14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands." What things that we seeing? Civil war, right? Many different, but it says,
and bricks in their hand.
yeah, right? It bricks. It
Oh,
says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh," 2 Ezra 15:15, "and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands." Check this out. "For there shall be," and it's so cold, it's so cold. "For there shall be sedition among men." That's an uprising, revolts. "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they," who's the they? The citizens. "And they shall not regard their kings nor princes," the rulers, the governors, the mayors, the president, the vice president. And why I said it's cold, because it says the citizens eventually go rise up, cause seditions, invade one another, and they not gonna care about their kings nor princes. In June 14th, this Saturday, what the article say? No kings. That's the theme. No kings. In America, we don't do kings. That's the thing. It says they, and mind you, just disclaimer, we not with none of this. We not advocating for it. We ain't gonna be there, right? We ain't with it. We waiting on the Lord. Just to throw that out there. But it says in America, we don't do kings. They've defied our courts, deported Americans, disappeared people off the streets, attack our civil rights, and slash our services. And it's going into why they going to revolt. It says the corruption has gone too far. No thrones, no crowns, no kings. That's prophecy. 2 Ezra 15:16. "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. For they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Eventually, the time will come to where the people will be able to do what they want. The little police department, right? NOPD, or LAPD, right? HPD,
yeah.
right? All these little police departments, you will be too overwhelmed and overrun with the emotions and the retaliation of the people, man. So therefore, what's gonna have to come? As you've been seeing Trump, yeah, Natural News right here, 6/9, the date 6/9. Trump declares LA under insurrection. The prophecies, that's prophecy. Sedition, insurrection, one and the same. It says Trump declares LA under insurrection as federal forces mobilize to expel illegal immigrants. Says it's gonna be too much for the everyday cop, right? The dude who pull you over for running the stop sign, Ted and Bill, right? The troops gonna have to come in, and that's when we're gonna continue on the 2 Ezra 15, and we're gonna read this in the GNT. It says, verse 17, so once that happened, once people start to riot in sedition, it says, verse 17, "And there will no longer be free access to the cities." Why? Because now the troops here, the mercenaries here, lockdowns, checkpoints. It says, "Because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live." And we're in a time of, we about to see a lot of chaos and confusion, driven by famine and terrible suffering. A lot of people suffering just by this little ice thing. Now, I ain't saying little ice thing to downplay it, but people really suffering. People suffering for, remember, mind you, as ICE detaining people just got hit by hurricanes who still need help, who ain't nobody talking about them no more in the news. You still got these people in North Carolina who still through from the hurricane. You still got these people in some people in California still through from the fire. So a lot of people suffering. That's going to drive them to say enough is enough. And it says, "And people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions." I put this video, Pop, you ain't have anything? And we can end it.
Yeah. This is Isaiah chapter 47, verse 1. "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne. O daughter of the Chaldeans. But thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. All right, so as you was reading earlier, all right, no throne, no crown, no king. That was prophesied for Babylon. All right, the virgin daughter of Babylon is America. So there is no throne. America enjoyed at one particular time the status of being the leader of the free world. But we don't look very free nowadays, do we? It looks tyrannical. It looks chaotic, oppressive. It just looks crazy right now out here. All right. But that was the prophecy. All right. Come down and sit in the dust. Thus going back to confusion. All right, which is indicative of Babylon, going back to the Hebrew root babal, which is dust or confusion. So this is what you're seeing. All right, with these rumors comes confusion. Is it really happening? Are they straight on their facts? Are they straight up bullshitting? It's a lot of dust right now. People protesting, putting their lives on the line for a cause that, they're not genuinely representing. So some people may think they're going down to show support for, immigration or whatever, but it's a setup. It's dust. It's a dusty place. The only place where you have surety is in the under the shadow of the Almighty.
That's right.
Psalms 91.
That's right.
That's the only place where you have surety. Everything out here, like I said, all they do is lie. You can't trust nothing. You got to check your news 3 or 4 times. It's a lot of deception, deceit. All right, and that's where a lot of the confusion comes from. But the Most High is stirring this up. So even the ones that are doing the deceit are being deceived. That was also prophesied. So you can't trust nobody outside of the ministry. Trust the ministry, because somebody could have well intentions but just have wrong information. They mean you well. They ain't trying to send you down no path of destruction, but their information may be faulty, which is in the case of a lot of these other Hebrew Israelite groups concerning certain particular prophecies that are detrimental to us going forward and receiving salvation. They want to tell you that the MOTB is not a micro CHIP and all of these things. There's some of them may be sincere in what they believe. Some of them may be actually leading you down, knowingly leading you down a false path. The thing is, that's why Habakkuk speaks about the just shall live by his faith. We must have faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, because everything else, we're in a time of uncertainty. And so the only thing that we have that's certain is the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. So yeah, brother, go ahead. You got it.
That's right. Yeah, we can play this, and that's it. So this was 6 days ago from the Jimmy Dore show. It says Trump and Palantir creating surveillance system worse than China. Remember, and man, you said it beautifully. If you faithfully have been keeping up with us, with these Thursday lives, it feel like it have been in somewhat of a chronological order. Like every step they've been so-called taken. And you see when that MAGA, when Trump, his new when he got inaugurated and he had the three tech giants up there with him, that was in their mind, and Elon was the face at the time, but now he not needed no more. He not needed. So now what's needed is let's start the events. Elon did what he had to do. Watch out, go do what you got to do. Let's start the events now. You see, now it's to the next step. So when they came in, that was letting the world know, look, we're gonna try to go digital and then use Trump because people want to go the American, everyday American citizen, the MAGA supporter, want to go suspect that he was down with the globalist. They ain't think he was down with the digital system. They ain't want to go think Trump out of everybody. You down with the MOTB, the CBDC? So Trump was the guy. But now all that
and that's going back to what I said. You know, we brought out the charismatic leader and all that. You know, that was last year sometime, maybe, or early this year. But right, he was chosen for that particular purpose because he could pull this shit off. He's the ultimate salesman. But yeah, you got it.
John, that's it. Let's play it. It says Trump and Palantir creating surveillance system worse than China.
If you said to me, I want to build a social credit system that can be used.
One more time. Now remember, as we talked about Palantir, and look to hear that more in the news or on these certain little videos. Palantir, right? And man, it was a video. It was a game. It was an NFL game. Trump, Elon, Palantir. It was a game. I think it was an NFL game or something. Check this out, Tyler Park. Check this out. Trump, Elon, and JD Vance was at a game. And you know, Esau subtly do stuff. There's a baseball, football game. They subtly do stuff. As they was there in the skybox watching a game, what ads you see to the right? What ads you see to the right? USAA and what else? Palantir. Come on, man. Come on. See, Esau subtly be doing stuff.
Yeah, that's a predictive program. Yep.
Come on, man. Just wanted to show that. So they told you, but and last thing, and because she gonna pretty much say she gonna drop the mic, and that's all I had in her Taza part. But remember what we read. What's Palantir's main purpose? To gather data, track and trace. And she gonna say, in order for you to have a successful system, a digital system, to where you can track everything, trace everything, and to give people scores on how they live in your system, you have to control data. And guess who's the perfect person? Palantir. And I'm gonna say this: Palantir ain't the only company. They one of many, maybe the top of many, that's doing it, that's helping the system. But let's read it. I mean, let's listen.
If you said to me, I want to build a social credit system that can be used to enforce control against the American people and basically lock them down with both enforcement and social credit, I would go get the Social Security data, the IRS data, and the Treasury payment data. And that's exactly what they did.
So I wanted to show you this. This is Catherine Fitz. We've had her on the show before. And she was in the George W. Bush administration.
Man, so like, I really don't mean to stop because she said you got to get the Social Security data. Look what's coming this summer. Is in a chat. It says from June 9th, digital Social Security cards coming this summer. I'll go back and play it. That's it.
And never
credit, I would go get the Social Security data, the IRS data, and the Treasury payment data. And that's exactly what they did.
So I wanted to show you this. This is Catherine Fitz. We've had her on the show before. And she was in the George W. Bush administration, and ever since then she's been kind of a truth teller. So I'm going to play this video of Catherine Austin Fitz, and we'll get your response.
And what it looks to me like, Trump and Musk are implementing the control grid at high speed. What you have to say is, okay, to do a control grid, we need a digital ID implemented that's very high quality, high precise. Check the box. We need an all digital financial system. Check the box. You know, we need a way of doing interoperable money. Check the box. If you look at what Doge is doing, we need a social credit system. Check the box.
Wait, what do you mean by that? What Doge is doing?
Danny, they've been aggregating this kind of data. I used to call it the data beast. So they've been aggregating this kind of powerful data since the 90s. So I don't think this is all new. So, for example, you
IRS data, healthcare data, and combining it all together into one system combined with AI.
It's interesting because Musk was out raising capital for XAI and had to deal with Palantir AI at the same time. And my guess, I think
Palantir has an AI?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Well, according to published reports, XAI and Palantir had made a partnership, and when Musk was sucking all this data out. And my guess is that data is, they sucked it into the AI on the just do it method. So if I wanted to stop fraud in the U.S. government, I would say there's 20 trillion missing from DOD, there's $1 trillion missing from HUD. I'm going to go in, figure out where it went, get it back.
Right.
That's not what they did. If you said to me, I want to build a social credit system that can be used to enforce control against the American people and basically lock them down with both enforcement and social credit, I would go get the Social Security data, the IRS data, and the Treasury payment data. And that's exactly what they did.
So Trump is actually building a control grid of it's like he's a robot right out of the WEF or China for that matter. It's the exact opposite of what MAGA thought they were voting for, right? I mean, let me just get your response to what she said. That's happening, right?
That is pretty much it on the top of the I mean, I got a lot
Yeah,
more.
that
I
was
don't
the
know if you
point
want to
right
keep
there.
going, but that was the main
Right. That was it.
thing. But I had one if you ain't had none, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Go on.
It's Revelation 12:12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them, and woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you," which the devil is Esau Edom. And he about to show himself to be the devil by way of the draconian laws that's about to be established in the earth. It says, "For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath." Why? It says, "Because he knoweth that he have but a short time." The so-called white man got a short time to rule, so he ain't about to hold no punches no more. All the trick plays, all the force, all the death he can bring to keep his system, we about to see it. All the tracking and tracing, we about to see it. And they ain't about to hide it for long. They put it in your face, man. They telling the people what they about to do. You know why? Because he know he got a short time. And the it's not the lamb no more. It's the horn showing. But that's all I had at Otazapa. You got it.
Yeah, that was it. Shit. I mean, you close it on that.
Conway, with that, the Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. This information was helpful. And with that, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory once again unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rachakwadash, and double honors unto the apostle. That was a great millstone, as well as the men that taught them, and peace and blessings unto all you Akim out there who pushing his word with all truth and sincerity. Oh, that's what I want to show. It's cool. And all sincerity, and as well as all you believers out there who believe on the gospel. And keep fighting, keep pushing. We almost out of here. But that's another video that tells right. It was letters that was flying around certain downtown cities saying that purge, like a purge coming and civil war coming, so on and so forth.
Yeah, leave the world behind.
Exactly. Yup, that's it. Yup.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's why I had it up right here, but it's cool. But yeah, I'm gonna send it to you here in a few.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, man. We have to do a 4-hour show to cover
God.
all this stuff, man.
God.
But yeah, there's a lot going on. What's that?
I said, I'll send it to you when we get off of here.
Yeah, shit, it's look like it could be. Civil unrest. I mean, beyond what's going on already, we'll see. I'm looking for things to ramp up.
Man, God.
But yeah, shit, that was it.
Hey, well, with that, Lord willing, until next time. Hey, shalom.
Right. Shalom.